All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. I think we've waited long enough, and anyone else that plans to attend, they'll trickle in, and of course, you can use the Q&A and chat functions on the presentation, and we'll answer the questions. So my name is Herb Bond. I'm with the Office of Workforce Development, and I'm here to talk to you about the City Academy program. I have on the presentation with me Deputy Lee Alexander, as well as Katie Ma, also with the Office of Workforce Development. So our contact information, as you can see, is cityacademy@boston.gov. You can send all of your questions there. If you have anything that you would like to talk about offline, as well as the application for the City Academy program, can be found at owd.boston.gov/City Academy. So next slide, please. So the City Academy program is set up to where we are recruiting local Boston residents such as yourself for an exciting career opportunity to work with the Boston Emergency Medical Services right here in the city. We've set this program together for people who are eligible, who want to become a part of this great organization, and this team is becoming a first responder, and a great way to have be a part of the community, as well as make a very good living. So some of the eligibility requirements to become a Boston EMT and to be eligible for the City Academy training program is that you have to be a Boston area resident. So this includes any of the 23 neighborhoods of Boston. As long as you're a part of that area, you're good. You have to be 18 years of age or older. We don't have an age cap. We want to make sure that we reach as many people as possible who are able-bodied and mentally prepared for a career as an EMT. You also need to have a valid driver's license with a good driving record. The Boston EMTs, some are going to be required to actually drive the ambulance. So that's one of the requirements, that you have your basic driver's license before you begin any training in that area. Also, you need to have a high school diploma. And if you don't have a high school diploma, we do accept the GED High Set program as well. We want to make sure that it's open to everyone. You can have your high school diploma, you could have your GED, you could have an associate's, a bachelor's. It really doesn't matter. It's open to all levels of education as long as you meet the basic requirements. There's also an income eligibility for the program, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. You also need to be able to pass a Tabe Test. So the Tabe Test is a reading comprehension test. So unlike other Tabe tests, this one will not include any math. This is only for reading, to make sure that you're ready for the training sessions in the classroom and able to keep up with the readings and the study sessions. Also, there will be a CORI review to make sure that you have a good, clean background, because you're going to be dealing with sensitive material and a lot of high-level training that's going to require such a stringent background check. You're also going to have to undergo a drug test. Now, one of the things that's part of being an EMT is that you will be subject to random urinalysis, and that urinalysis will include marijuana. Now, I understand that it's legal recreationally as well as medicinally, but it is still considered a controlled substance, and that is part of your certification to become an EMT, is that you acknowledge that as being what it is, and you abstain from that and any other illegal activity. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, there we go. So here are the income limits for the city of Boston candidates. So the family size is set up. If it's one person, it's 66,000, two people, 76,000, and so forth, going up until you meet the eligibility requirements. Most people in the city of Boston meet these requirements, and this program is targeted to a majority of the medium incomes that are affected right here in Boston. We want to make sure that we're giving people an opportunity to train and be a part of this program in this organization who might not normally have access to it, or financial hardships would make it very difficult for you to continue with your training and with your studying. So one of the things we do with this program is to eliminate that cost and make sure that we cover the tuition and the fees and the training and everything associated with that, so that each student can concentrate predominantly on the classrooms and on the practical applications and on the lectures and on making sure that they set up good study habits after hours as well. Next slide, please. So the eligibility of the Bostonians, as you can see, is mapped out right here in the red. And these are some of the zip codes in which we do a lot of our recruiting from. We find it very important to make sure that we recruit everyone from the city of Boston right here in the community for this organization. We want to make sure that we're providing service to the community from people right in the community. People within the community best understand what's going on in their own homes and their own neighborhoods. And a lot of the efforts that we want is to bring various different people to be more inclusive. So we're actively recruiting all various types of minorities, people from the LGBTQ community, immigrant communities, bilingual speakers, newcomers, longtime residents, various different people from around the area. As long as they're a legal Boston area resident and ready to work and can handle the career here, we're more than welcome to have you a part of the program and to try to be a part of Boston EMS as well. Next slide, please. So some of the credentials and support that you can expect to gain from this program are all lined up here right before you. You're going to get your certification. You're going to work directly with the Boston EMS staff. You're going to also work with Kelly Folsom of Excel Education. He's one of the people who's going to help you in the classrooms and with the study sessions, along with myself and Katie and various other people with the Office of Workforce Development. We're all here for you to be able to work with us and come to us if you have issues. We're here, not just for classroom things, but for life things too. We know that many of you are working adults and parents, and that, this training is going to be conducted typically after hours, with hybrid learning and PPE equipment and all the safety precautions that are going to be with that. And that's all a big commitment. And that's something that we're doing along with you together. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Katie Ma, and she'll tell you more about the timeline and the expectations of the program. And then we'll hear directly from our Boston EMS staff. That's going to be Deputy Lee Alexander and Captain Naomi Waters. They'll definitely tell you about what they're looking for, their expectations for the Boston EMS, and all of that great information to help you make an informed decision. So I'll turn this over to Katie. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Herb. So we're going to look at the logistics for the EMT training program for City Academy. So if you decide to apply, and after you go through the pre-screening process, which includes sending in your application, any documents, taking the Tabe Test, and the interviews and the query, you would then move on into the bridge course. So the bridge course is a course that's collaboratively provided by Excel Education and the Boston Emergency Services. And this is a course that lasts for 3 weeks, approximately 10 hours per week. This is a class that it's going to cover a lot of different topics such as study skills, first aid, the challenges and benefits of being a first responder, and an overall view of the Boston EMS. So after you complete this bridge course, then you would move on into the basic EMT course, which is a little bit longer. This is a course that is for 6 months, 6 to 12 and a half hours per week, in addition to 10 hours of study time. This is a course that prepares you for the National Registry of EMT exam. A lot of trainees have to pass the exam in order to become licensed EMTs. So usually a basic EMT course at any other institution costs $1,000 or a little bit more, but through City Academy, this course is free for its participants, as well as you would also receive ongoing academic career development and personal support. And so after these 2 courses are done, then you would move on to getting your certifications. And so with the support of Boston EMS and the City Academy staff, you would have to complete the practical and written exams. So once you pass the National Registry EMT exam, you would then have to get your state registration within Massachusetts as well. And this is a process that takes to 1 to 3 months. But once you get that done though, you would officially become licensed EMTs. And then it would move on into the Emt Recruit Academy. So EMTs would have the opportunity to apply for a Boston EMS. You have to go through the EMS hiring process, and if you are accepted, then you would be able to get a 6-month of full-time instruction in field training with Boston EMS, which includes a weekly stipend as well. And if there's a chance that you can get promoted into Boston EMS, you would have a starting annual salary of $57K, health insurance, pension, union membership, as well as a 1-year probationary period with support from City Academy staff. So knowing all this, it's important to keep in mind of the expectations if you decide to apply and you get into this program. So City Academy, this is a program that's preparing you to have a career with the Boston EMS. You would be held to a high standard, and you would have to meet the expectations of public service as a first responder. Given that this program, it starts in January 2021, it lasts into a year and a little bit over, attendance and punctuality is vital to your success in this program as well as in your future career. It's imperative that you attend all the classes on time without any absences. If for some reason you have an emergency, you would have to communicate that with your instructors. In addition, you would have to behave in a professional manner as you come into these classes and you come into your training. So think of it as coming into a workplace, making sure that you have a neat and clean appearance, having appropriate conversations, treating others with respect and dignity. And then lastly, making sure that you are actively participating when you're in these courses and when you're doing your trainings, staying fully engaged, making sure that you're completing your assignments and just putting in your best effort into every day's work. So the next steps, if this program is something that you'd be interested in, so you have to complete the application online, and you can do that at owd.boston.gov/cityacademy. If you do meet the eligibility requirements, you'll be receiving an email with directions to submit your documents. So once those documents are reviewed and verified by the City Academy team, you would then be invited to a virtual group chat and a one-on-one interview with a City Academy person. If the interview is successful, then you would be invited to take the Tabe Test, which is, just to reiterate, a test that would assess your reading, math, and English levels. If you pass the Tabe test, you would then move on to a second interview with Boston EMS and then the quarry. And then lastly, if you are invited to participate within the program, like I said, the training would start in 2021. Be mindful though that because we are in a pandemic right now, some of the dates might be subject to change based on the public health guidelines. And if you want any more information, you can also still go to that link that I mentioned before, which you would find the application as well. And so we can open up the floor to any questions that folks may have about the program or just about working in Boston EMS.
Let's see. Let's find a question. Do you accept high school diplomas from foreign countries? Yes, we do. As long as it's a high school diploma that's, an equivalent, we'll accept that, as well as any other degrees or diplomas you may have or certifications on top of that. And just to reiterate, we will be taking those degrees and diplomas, but we will also be requiring people take a Tabe test, which is a basic reading comprehension test to better gauge your ability to operate in the classroom. So let's see. The next question, how's the selection process for assignment? I believe that's asking what exactly are we looking for a Boston EMT? So I'll turn that over to our EMT people, and they'll definitely go into detail of what they're looking for.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well. I just wanted to echo real quick about what Katie mentioned about the expectation of a commitment for your attendance. We're really looking for people that are dedicated to this career opportunity and really find that this is something that they really want to commit their time to, because there is going to be a lot of materials that will be covered during this time in the EMT course. And at the conclusion of the course, there are a set amount of required hours that you need to complete in order for you to sit for your state board. So we just cannot echo that enough, that the commitment to the program is imperative. And for those of you who may not know much about EMTs, we're an emergency medical technician. So we're a pre-hospital emergency care agency. And if you don't really know too much about us or haven't really seen too much, I know some of you in the Boston area may have seen those big white trucks just kind of, running up and down the street and running through red lights and what have you, and you really don't understand what we're doing. There are some videos that you can watch on YouTube, and you can also Google Boston EMS. We actually did a few shows back on ABC a few years back, so you can also review that just to get a little bit of a little understanding about what we actually do and the care that we provide for the city of Boston. So, any other
Fantastic.
questions? Yeah.
All right. Let's see. The next question. If your income is higher than your eligibility, but you have lost your job, would that be considered? Yes, technically you're unemployed, so you don't have an income. So you're eligible for the program. Now, if, you know, for whatever reason you get another job or a higher paying job or whatever else, and it's higher than what we've shown, then yes, that would make you ineligible. The program is set for people of a medium income right here in Boston to be eligible for the program. It's not really geared towards high income earners, just to answer your question. Let's see, next question. I haven't submitted my high school diploma or any other information. Am I still qualified? No, you're not qualified until you've submitted your application and all documentation that's required to be reviewed. Once you've submitted all of that information, all of your documentation, and you've completely filled out the online application and everything is within order, then you become qualified and eligible for the program. But, you know, without, you know, producing proof of documentation, that makes you ineligible. All right. The next question is, if you are married and your spouse makes the limit, I believe that's the income limit. Like I said, as long as you meet those numbers, you know, and it's the more people you have in your family, the larger the income limit is to accommodate for that. So as long as you're within the threshold and guidelines, you're fine. Let's see. What is the deadline for submission? So right now, as we showed in the timeline for the recruitment process, right now we're doing info sessions, giving people time to fill out the online application, as well as submit their documentation. We'll actually start reviewing these things and testing during December for a January, early January start time for the class. So, I believe let's see. Next question. Would we be able to start the program in late January? No, there's no deviation from what we set for training hours for a collective group of classroom people. We need everyone to be on time and ready to work collectively as a group. So one of the things about that is conforming to the times that's set for your shift when you eventually become a Boston EMT, as well as being ready to be in the classroom during your scheduled learning hours. So there really isn't a lot of wiggle room with that. The only way the time frame for the class would change is if it was something internally done with Boston EMS and the Office of Workforce Development together. So, but again, we will be informing everyone of everything that's coming down the line and going forward with timelines and logistics as planned. Also, next question, when is the deadline to submit your information? Again, we're gonna start the selection process in December for a January start time, early January start time. I am legally married but separated from my spouse. We will file separate tax returns when applying. Should I include their income? No, you're separate from them and, going through a life change. So just include your information only. Let's see. And I think that's it for the questions right now. I want to turn it over to our Boston EMS staff to go into a little bit more detail of the type of candidates they are looking for this career opportunity, as well as what some of the advancements or things that they can expect with Boston EMS as an organization.
There's also some questions in the Q&A box as well, Herb.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at them yet, as well as a participant who's raised her hand. So I'm not sure what order we should go.
Let's see. All right, let's see. What are the class hours? I'll go ahead and let the Boston EMS staff answer that.
Good morning, everyone. As far as the EMT course hours, they're Tuesdays and Thursdays. At one point it was 6 to 9. It might have changed to 7 to 10. And there's every other Saturday. It's a full 8-hour day. And that's expected to go on from January until approximately the end of May. The bridge portion is, I'm trying to think, what was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 to 10. Feels like forever ago.
Yeah, around 6 to 10, 6 to 9 or so. So those dates may vary a little bit, just depending upon the upcoming schedule. It may be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It may be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So we will confirm that before you're actually appointed to take the course. So, and we just want to also stress that is a requirement as well, because that's where you're going to get a bulk of what more in depth on what to expect in the course. And, of course, as Herb and Katie mentioned, opportunity to develop your skills and just help you along on that path, to develop some good studying skills and kind of get your feet wet back into a little bit of the classroom setting. You will have a sample lecture from Captain Scana, who is the lead instructor. So he'll give you you'll get a little taste of his lecture and also on how to take notes from his lecture as well.
All right. Next question. What if I just want to do the basic EMT course? With the City Academy program, it's all one inclusive program. So there's no way to break it up to just take the exam or just do the bridge course and then, don't do the other parts of the training. It's all one continuous thing and one continuous support system in order to ensure the success of our students. If we start just doing portions of the training, that would be a lot less effective and very dangerous for when you go into the field. So we need people to be knowledgeable and safe and have as much information as humanly possible to ensure your success as first responders. Also, next question, is the bridge course expected to be online? Like I said, the overall training of this program is going to be a hybrid model. So you need to be prepared for that. We don't need any surprises of someone saying they didn't know or this was unexpected. This is very much upfront and part of how we're training. You cannot be an EMT without physically doing the work. You know, that's an important part of the job and of the career. You know, it's not just, you know, physical, and it's not just a classroom thing. It's a combination of both, and executing them and making sure that people have the right care that, you know, they're frankly due, you know, being part of this organization. So there is, you know, there's no shortcuts. There's no way to get around things. The easiest way to get through this program is to start it, do exactly as you need to do, study, put 110% in, and actually do the work and finish. That's the fastest way you're going to get out of this program and become eligible for employment with Boston EMS. Anything short of that, you're going to be, you know, using more of your time, and you're going to come up short of whatever the goal is that you've anticipated for your career. So the easiest way to do is to go to class, you know, check in with us when you need help or you need extra assistance, and then just go from there. Let's see. Next question. If you live in Lynn, can you participate in this program? Unfortunately, you cannot participate in the program if you live in Lynn. Lynn is outside of the Boston area and outside of the jurisdiction. This is strictly a Boston program only. So that only includes the zip codes and areas that we showed you in the slide before, which are only located in the 23 neighborhoods of Boston. Anything outside of that makes you uneligible, and this program is set up for Boston area residents for the program, as well as you need Boston residency for Boston EMS. Let's see. Let's see if we have more questions. I had my EMT license, I believe, but it's lapsed. Am I still qualified, and do I need to do the full process? I'll let our EMS staff answer that question.
Good morning. I believe it's Jorge that's asked the question. So since you're lapsed, you're technically no longer certified by the state. So unfortunately, you'd have to, in order to get recertified, you have to take a whole program again. So that would be the easiest way to go about it. Most people here, once they have their EMT certification, they continue schooling and education to continue your continuing education units, which keep you recertified every 2 years. So unfortunately, you'll have to, you know what the process was like the first time around. This is a little bit different, but it's definitely worth it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I will leave it open to Captain Waters and Deputy Alexander to go into a little bit of detail about what they're looking for the program. And then we'll talk a little bit about what you can expect at Boston EMS as a career.
So from day one in the academy, actually the EMT course, everything is very structured. So like we said, it's very important that you don't miss any classes. If you have, any medical issues that might come up, you should probably address it with the training captain as soon as possible. Because, like the human body, everything is connected. So if you miss one class, you might miss the whole cardiology lecture. If you miss another class, you might miss the respiratory. All these different categories work together. And along with the lecture, you also have a practical component, which is built in. You do trauma, then you do C-spine, which all they all relate and they all build on each other. So it's very important to try your hardest not to miss any classes at all. Once you make it through the EMT course, through exams, practical exams, written exams, you go on to your state certification where you'll do a written exam and another practical exam. Once you're licensed by the state, we tend to hold our recruiting processes at least twice a year. It really depends on need and budget, but it tends to line up with where the EMT course ends, so we can get fresh students right in from the classroom into the academy. And again, it's another written, practical, and interview process. We look for people that can think quick on their feet, people that can multitask. It's important to have the knowledge base, but it's also important to be able to apply that knowledge to real patients. Once you're in the academy, there is a PT portion. It's Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week. You start in the morning with a PT portion, which is about an hour, and it's all for conditioning so that you can get used to going up and down stairs, carrying equipment, and then carrying patients and equipment up and down stairs with a partner. From there, you'll do about 3 months in the academy where it's exams, it's lectures, practical scenarios and skills. And then you'll go out with your partner, with a badge member, riding in an ambulance or driving in an ambulance, taking real 911 calls, doing live patient care. You'll be graded on that care and how you execute, your skills, triage report, and that sort of thing. And at the end of 9 weeks, that's when we decide whether you're a good fit and whether you've successfully completed the academy. It's really a lot of, there's a lot of skill, but there's also a lot of quick thinking. There's, like I said, if you start from the beginning, just taking everything in, paying attention, being on time, if not early, and just giving it your full attention, you'll definitely be successful here.
Deputy, did you get a chance to talk about the schedule?
No, I haven't. After the academy portion.
Yeah. Ooh, once you got there and we throw you off the ship.
So that's it could be good and bad. So we're, as everyone knows, we're 24/7, 365. You don't get to come out and say, hey, I want every single holiday off. We have night shifts, we have day shifts, we have evening shifts, weekends, and holidays. Our schedules rotate. We have 8-hour shifts and 10-hour shifts. The 8 hours are usually 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and that coincides with the 3 to 11, 11 to 7 schedule, or the 8 to 4, 4 to midnight, midnight to 8. There's also a 10-hour schedule where they get every other weekend off, but they're in the morning at 6 a.m. until 4 p.m., or the evening shift 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. And again, it's rotating. There's no one person here that gets every single holiday or weekend or any of that off. And sometimes your schedule might say 8 to 4, but if you get a 911 call at 3:50 and you're not done and back at the station by 4 o'clock, then you're done when you're done. So there is some overtime involved almost always. Sometimes, especially around the holidays and summers, vacations, some people get mandated where you might have plans for the evening, but if we're short-staffed, the junior person has to stay an extra 8 hours. So, I mean, it's part of the flexibility. You need to be able to roll with the punches. Sometimes, you know, things just happen that are out of our control, but just as much as it's hard or difficult, it's one of the exciting things about the job is that you never know what each day is going to bring. You never know what each call is going to bring. Everything's different every day. So you just kind of have to wake up and just be open to whatever comes your way for that day.
All right. So, are there any additional questions or comments? Let's see. You mentioned it's 24/7. Say if there's an evening that you need for religious reasons,
Good question.
and you need a 7 to 9 on Wednesday off or a Sunday morning off, can you tailor schedules like that, with the understanding that there's always a chance you might be stuck?
That is a good question. So we do have some flexibility with the being a part of the union. You do get 13 paid holidays. So you can either save your holidays or you can get paid for them. So in this situation, you might want to save a holiday and you'd request time off for that particular day. We also have vacation time that we could use, or you can also do what we call as a swap. So, you know, say, you know, EMT A needs Sunday off and EMT B needs Saturday off. So you guys can switch schedules and work, and that way that would allow you to have that, whether it's 7 to 9 a.m. or 7 to 9 p.m. off. It really depends. We do 24-hour schedules, so that either means 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Either or. You can swap schedule or swap shifts with people in advance, and that would give you your time off. There are also people that swap shifts, and that allows for an extended weekend, an extended vacation time. School, a lot of people do swaps so that they can go to a class at a particular time, and they further their education that way.
All right. It looks like, let me see. Oh, they wanted to follow that question up with, what if it's a weekly thing? Does that become a problem?
Not a problem, but they said there are people in the past that have needed every single Tuesday off, whether their child goes to dance or something. So they might work it out with a day person to say, hey, every Monday you do a double, and or every Tuesday you do the double, and I'll have the entire Tuesday off. But hey, I like my Saturdays off, so you can work a double for me every Saturday. So it's really, you know, you try to build those relationships and see who needs what, and you work together. Every week is tough to, you know, you only have so many holidays to use and so much vacation time to use. So, you know, over the course of a year, you may have to, you know, use some of your other time. The other thing is, because we have a rotating schedule, say, for example, this week, I might have, not me in particular, but an EMT might have Wednesday, Thursday off. And then next week, because you work, so you have Wednesday, Thursday off, that means you work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then next week you're off Tuesday, Wednesday. So there are 2 Wednesdays in a row that you're scheduled not to work. Now, the 4 Wednesdays in between, you might want to consider a swap or using holiday time or vacation time.
All right. Next question. Does the EMT program qualify for the GI Bill? I'm a veteran and eligible for GI benefits. So this program does not qualify under the GI Bill, but what many veterans have done is they will go to college, either traditional 4-year institution or community college and take 2 courses which qualify for the GI Bill, which will also, if it's something that you're serious about being in the medical field, most veterans will take something medical related that can work in tandem with the training that they're having at Boston EMS. That way you'll still be able to use your GI benefits to get your certification and degree and still be eligible for your housing allowance, as well as still getting the free training at night with Boston EMS. So you're essentially double dipping and helping yourself by getting, a subsidized education during the day, as well as getting a free low cost education at night. And as long as you're going to put, the time and investment in yourself to do both, not only are you going to have your certifications for both at the end, you'll also be paid to do it as well. So I highly recommend, if you're going to use your GI Bill, do it that way. That way you can, save yourself money as well as double up on multiple trainings. Let's see. And what other courses can you take in addition to the EMT training? I'll leave this up to the captains to speak about the advancements that Boston EMS affords their personnel.
I'm sorry, what was the question again, please?
What other courses can you take in addition to the EMT training?
Well, we're going to give you all the knowledge that you need and all the resources to be a successful EMT here. I think as they have mentioned it earlier, the tutoring programs that we have as well, the additional help that you'll need, everything that you're going to need will be provided through Boston EMS as well as OWD to help you be successful in this EMT course. One of the things that we do want to stress upon is the physical component of the class. Right now would be a good time to start doing something. If you haven't been in any type of exercise regimen, just try to do some light lifting, some stretching, just kind of get yourself in shape for that, because having a strong, good core system for lifting patients and carrying the equipment and what have you that you need for this job, it would be to your benefit if you could start a little workout regimen right now, just to kind of build up your stamina and what have you, because that will be a requirement. As you advance further on in the process and you complete the EMT course, and then you go on to get your state certification and you pass that, and then you apply for a job, an actual full-time job here, which being part of this program gives you a kind of a little bit of a preference. You will be required to do a physical component, physical ability test for the hiring process as well, and that will encompass carrying a mannequin down in a stair chair if deputy didn't want to step over her. She mentioned that earlier, but that's going to be a requirement that you'll need to make sure that you can do. So we generally try to tell you, if this is something you really want to do, start now. Just start doing some light stuff, just kind of get yourself up off the sofa, so to speak, with the Corona-19 that everyone has seemed to have gathered. So that would be a great thing for you to do, because we really want people that want to do this job, and we want you to be healthy and safe as well. And just to echo one other thing they mentioned about the drug screening, that could be done randomly at any time. It could be done throughout the bridge course. It could be done again throughout the Recruit Academy. At any time randomly, you could just be pulled for a drug test. And as they mentioned that marijuana is not something that's, although it's legal, it's not something that we can indulge upon here and still work, because we need to have our mental faculties clear so that we can provide the most efficient care to our patients.
All right, let's see. Next question. In the military reserves, we're required to go on training for 2 days out of the month. Would the EMT training excuse those days, or would they have to do a shift swap?
Well, for the course, it would be in the evening. So my assumption would be that you would go be a military duty in the morning and come back, or sometimes maybe you could go on the weekends. I'm not sure how the military schedule works. You are allowed a couple of excused classes, but what we're suggesting is that you just don't make a habit out of it, and just be advised that if that's a day that you absolutely have to go to take care of, your military requirements, which, we completely respect, we can't get in the way of that, but just know that you're responsible for that component of work that was taught while you were missing.
When you start the EMT course, you will probably get a syllabus of the hours of the Saturday classes. So I think if you're like in the National Guard or the Army Reserve, you do that once a month training. So you'll be able to look on the schedule to see if your weekend is going to fall on either of those days, and just let the captain know up front, and then he can tell you what accommodations you need to do to make up for those hours. Because as I stated earlier, you do need a certain amount of hours to sit for your state boards. So they will be required. So as Deputy mentioned, that coursework will be, you will need to make that up. So, but if you know early enough so that he can work into that, the more better it will be for you.
All right, our next question. How soon after your completion of the EMT course could you take courses for life support or paramedic training?
Last I checked, you could start the paramedic course, but you have to have at least 1 year as an EMT. So most people, either work for the privates, work for us for a year, and then they sign right up for the paramedic training.
So you just can't take a paramedic course and think you're going to jump right into a paramedic. You have to start as a basic.
And it's really helpful because a lot of the things that the paramedics do, it's that layering. It's things that you've done as an EMT at the basic level.
So basically, you just need to know what you're talking about and being able to say you've done the job.
Right. It's a little beyond textbook. So you need to, show that you've completed it, you have your certification, but I've also had
Done the
some
work.
field experience.
All right, let's see. Well, it looks like we don't have any other questions at this moment. Well, thank you everyone for attending. If you want more information about the program, again, go to owd.boston.gov/City Academy. You can find more information about the program, the timetable, the program expectations, the online application, as well as a lot of additional other information available about the program and what we need for our candidates. So again, thank you, Captain Waters. Thank you, Deputy Alexander. Thank you, Katie Ma. My name is Herb Bond. I'm with the Office of Workforce Development and the City Academy program, and we look forward to receiving your applications and hearing from you very soon. Thank you for attending and have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.